And we are live. Hey, what's up, everybody?
What's
Got
up?
Hello.
Dan and David here with
I'm
me.
back. I'm back from Joe Fest 2025. Yay!
Got all kinds of stuff to talk about today.
David, we were
Yes.
worried. We were reaching out to you last week, and we were worried you got scooped up by the police. I was like looking
No,
through the headlines to see if there was a. We like Terry and I may have to run down there and get you, bail you out or something
it
if there was an
wasn't the
incident.
it wasn't the police. I was at the Sergeant Slaughter breakfast when that was
Ooh.
going. You guys were trying to get me to do that, and I didn't get my message because I turned my phone off because they asked me to be the MC of the Sergeant Slaughter breakfast, and there was a presentation with Adam Riches about the packaging for the Sergeant Slaughter original classified package, and so there was a whole bunch of presenters, and I was the MC, and it was a really great time. But
That's
I
awesome.
really wanted to do that live stream because I would have got up on that balcony and I would have showed that convention center and all the awesomeness that was going on in that. I really was sad that I couldn't do that.
That's really
What's up,
cool.
Triple D's Dungeon?
Hey, Triple
What's up?
D's. So there is lots of stuff. Do you want me to show some of the stuff that I got off at Joe Fest? We can talk about a little bit of it. Terry?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, see what you got.
So let's see. Let's get into a little bit of Super 7. So we got Falcon. I guess you can call this Falcon version 2 and Once a Man, Cobra Commander, Reaction Plus. These were the actual display units that were at the Super 7 booth. I was able to finagle a deal and I got these items from the Super 7 booth. So these are from the
Nice.
convention and they are pretty good.
Yeah, those look awesome.
They are much more accurate to the animation than I would ever have guessed because I went back and I watched. It's way closer. The one that we got a few years ago, the LaCroix one, is a little bit different. It's much more O-ring vintage era, and these were much more animated Sunbow movie accurate. And I was a little surprised when I saw it. I was like, wait a minute, Falcon? Wait, did he look like that? Yeah, he looked like that. And so the Cobra Commander was a little darker too. And he had more scales and there was more serpent parts to it and everything. And I checked and it's more accurate.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I have cases of those that should be here tomorrow.
So. Yeah, that's cool.
Don't forget to bring me some on next month.
Yeah.
Are we in next month yet?
Not yet. We're close.
Close, very close.
What? 2 more days.
Hey, David, real quick, does Falcon's beret, does that come off?
No, it does not.
Okay.
And then they did these two Ultimates, Tiger Force Flint and Python Destro behind me. I don't know if you guys can see them. You want me to bring them closer?
Yeah, go ahead and bring them closer.
I can see Terry's dreamy eyes going nuts over him right now.
Oh man, I
see the hearts floating off your head right now.
I want them, but at the same time, I want to just not ever buy them.
Like everybody else.
Really cool. And these are again the convention samples. So they were already open. So I opened them and did a review the other day of them. And this is it's Sunbow animated inspired. So Flint looks a little bit weird in this. And the packaging is phenomenal. There's all kinds of homages in the packaging and things like that. Do you want me to pull him out of this package, the Flint, Terry?
Yeah, if you want to.
This is a family show, so be careful now.
Well, he's already been open, but I want to show how different this Flint is because it's not classified. There's no
right.
Classified.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like the vintage Tiger Force Flint either. It looks unique. They did their own unique thing with it, and it looks really cool. I must say, I was a little surprised when I saw it. I was like, wait a minute, what? And I had a discussion with Brian Flynn about it. He was at Joe Fest, by the way, Brian Flynn. And I haven't been able to talk to you guys in a few weeks. And I was going to announce that Super 7 did make it to Joe Fest. So there's Tiger Force Flint.
Oh, that looks cool.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of different heads. He's got a separate beret, whole bunch of accessories and stuff like that. But then I was looking at...
My only issue was I looked at the price and they've jacked them up $10. They're $65 a piece now, and they're not
That's-
worth that to me for some reason.
They've been 65 for a while. The only ones I think were 55 or maybe wave 1. Ever since wave 2, it's been 65.
I've had them for 55 every wave up until now.
Oh, okay. Well, then
Same
maybe,
here.
maybe I'm mistaken that because I remember spending 65. But oh, wait a minute. You could be right. I think it might have maybe wave 1 was 45, then they moved it to 55, and it's been 55, and now these are 65. Oh boy.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Oh.
$65 for one of those, man. It just does not set like it was tough at 55, but like 65 is just, and I know it's only $10 difference, but still, you know, you're talking about being able, you're talking about 3 classifieds.
Yeah.
Almost.
It is when you get like some of the muck and that stuff from Thundercats, and they're these absolute huge things for 55 or 65. I can see that, or like Mumra, the Ghost Mumra, or whatever. That stuff's probably in that range. But yeah, these are just normal ones. Maybe because of the extra deco. I don't know. It's weird. But so they're really cool. Super 7 was really cool. And then there was also a Jinx, and there was also a Royal Guard, and both of them are much more Sunbow colors as well. Jinx without the mask and the pugilistic she has, and the Royal Guard from Cobra La much closer to the animated version of that. They're all
the Royal Guard's getting so much love because we're getting classified, we're getting the Super 7 Plus.
Yes,
they're getting Cobra Law's getting a lot of love. You know.
Do you have that list that I shared to you, Terry?
I do. I'm actually going to bring that up here on screen right now.
So this is an interesting list, and it's going to lead into the discussion on this Snowcat that I just happened to have sitting here. So this list was discussed. It was found somewhere online by the Full Force around January. Now, I've shared this to a couple people, and it's very interesting. If you look at some of the characters we've gotten, like that Scorpion, that we just got that as a reveal earlier in the month for Yojo June. Mm-hmm. So this is a very accurate list as to what we've gotten and possibly what we could be getting. But there's a couple odd things. But if you look up here, it says the Battle Polar Bear with I think it says Scarlet there. Can you read that?
It says unknown new female character.
So who do you think that is?
I have no idea. Unknown new female. That could mean either they don't know who it is, but it's a new female figure, or it could mean that it's a new character. Possibly
Dana, because she was in G.I. Joe in Devil's Due era, and she was in the toy line during the new Sculpt era. Is that a possibility? They've done Helix, they've done Scarlet, they've done Jinx, they've done Lady J, we've gotten Quarrel, we've gotten Glenda. Who else is there?
Bombshell.
We've got Shooter.
Bombstrike.
Well, there's
Bombstrike, whatever her name is.
So hang on. It might be the female Doc.
The female Doc. Now there's something. And then if you look at the single figures down here, who's at the top of the single figures?
Which side?
It would be on my side, would be the right.
Iceberg?
Iceberg.
So is that going to be the 90s version of Iceberg, or is it going to be the 80s version?
I don't know. I hope it's the 80s with maybe
it's got to be the 80s.
A little bit of a tweak to the 90s, maybe like a different head and some.
David, could you read the names off of that list? Like the print's so small I can't see on my screen. Because there are some items I can confirm if I've ordered or not.
Okay, so figure plus vehicle, we have the crankcase with the Awe Striker. We've already got that.
Yeah.
Destro with Despoiler. That's going to be the Iron Grenadiers Destro. Which
Dan, you said last year we were supposed to get that, and
delayed. That got pushed back because that was supposed to. I think that was supposed to be late 23, then in 24, and then it got pushed back. Or no, ordered in 23, it was going to be 24, and it got pushed back. So I guess it's coming this year or next.
Unknown female with Polar Battle Bear, and then figures plus animals. We have Dusty V2 with Sandstorm. That'll be a good one. And
Oh
the
yeah.
Sand Scorpion with the Robot Scorpion.
Oh.
That'll be cool because I think that's going to be more in line with the Valor versus Venom Desert or Sand Scorpion.
And it's going to be like a scrap iron, like they're calling like his big missile launcher, like a thing, or a heavy duty, like this heavy duty, kind of like a figure and pet type of thing. So it's going to be some sort of animatronic thing, probably. Yeah.
And then 2 packs, we have Night Creeper Leader and Budo. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
No.
Because we already have Night Creepers. We already have Budo as single boxed figures. Night Creeper Leader, that could be a little bit of a different one. I don't think we're going to get that 2-pack, but I could be wrong. They could be repainting him already.
It could be a store exclusive too.
Yeah, they did do the Beachhead and Quick Kick. They did the Crimson Guard, or whatever, the Crimson Guard with the Steel Court Commander. What was the Crimson Guard name? Twilight Guard. So they're doing these weird 2-packs. So I think that's in line with some of this weird stuff.
So Blackout and Bomb Strike. I absolutely cannot wait for those two, because I really like the whole dynamic between the 3 of them. The third one is Barrel Roll, and they're all 3 siblings.
Right, and that's 2,000 figures. So they've been dropping these 2,000 figures a little bit here. Like you get a Helix, you get whatever that bad guy that's with the weird skull face.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
They dropped Kamakura, they've dropped Shooter, they've dropped one here, one there. Not like tons. So this is in line with that. They're mixing and matching.
So we've got a 2-pack Grand Slam and Laser Viper. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me either, because Grand Slam should come with the jump, shouldn't he?
Yeah, so I don't know if they would put him in a 2-pack starting off, but maybe they don't think he's gonna sell
I feel like we've ordered that one. I know we've ordered Grand Slam, but I don't remember being in a 2-pack.
Okay.
Or maybe it was. I'd have to ask my vendor.
And then another 2-pack is going to be Cesspool and an Unknown.
Which we know that there's a Cesspool coming because Lenny mentioned it. He says, look, I love Cesspool, and we want to put him in the line. Those are his exact words. So this is, so far, a lot of this is right in line with what we've seen, what we know is coming, right? Except for...
So hopefully it's not a troop builder that we get with him. Hopefully it's another named character.
Oh, maybe I was hoping it's a zombie of some sort. I'm hoping it's a zombie of something.
I don't, because I want to troop build zombies. I don't want to have to buy a bunch of single or a bunch of 2-packs with Cesspool to have multiple zombies.
Yeah. Gosh, do you guys remember it was I think it was the JoeCon 2012 where they had the prototype case and they had all the ninja stuff and samurais and they had the zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like at the height of the Walking Dead TV show popularity.
Yeah, there was a whole
story
along with it.
I showed people that at my store, and they're like, I'm not a G.I. Joe fan, but I'll buy every one of those.
Yeah.
Because it was like zombie Cobra Commander, zombie Storm. The zombie Storm Shadow looked amazing. But then they also had, if you guys remember, and you can find the pictures online, there was some secondary force within G.I. Joe, and there was somebody named like Raven or Dark Raven, and he had a helmet, and he was supposed to be like this mysterious Snake Eyes like character, not a ninja, but like just kind of mysterious, badass.
Was it Wraith? Maybe an early version of Wraith?
No, Wraith had already been out. This was something. I think it was like something Raven, or maybe his name was Raven.
Well, doing it was like Daryl DePriest, there was going to be a android like invasion, and they were going to have Overkill and all these different versions.
I remember that.
Of robots and stuff, and that was going to take over the next thing after Valor vs. Venom. That was going to be the next iteration of their lineage. So maybe that was going to be a robot of some sort.
No, this is all modern sculpt. This is all. Yeah, everything in the case was, they had the it's when Renegades was out, Renegades I think was already canned, but they had the vehicle they used in Renegades, the truck, I forget what that was called, and then there was some G.I. Joe Jeep that Flint was driving around in Renegades. They had mock-up, they had that. You had to look that up. I think it was like 2012 or 2011. I think it was 2012. but it was a big giant case, and it had all this stuff laid out, and it was just like the ninja stuff looked really cool. The Joe stuff they had coming looked cool. The zombies look cool, and I mean, I could tell you, if they had the zombie stuff come out, they could have paid off the national debt with all that they could have sold, because it was just so, all that was so popular because of The Walking Dead, you know.
So let's continue with this list. So
box figures, we have Iceberg, Night Viper, Muskrat, Lifeline, Monkey Wrench, Iron Grenadier Baroness. I don't really want to see another Baroness right now. Voltar and Darklon. So we already have Darklon.
We got Darklon and we got Monkey Wrench. They moved those two into different waves, and we know there's a Night Viper coming.
Night Viper I've ordered, and I want to say I've ordered Lifeline. The Iron Grenadier Baroness, I think I might have ordered her too. Iceberg, I can't remember. I want to say yes, because we get these call sheets, for lack of a better term, and they're all like these code names. And he's like, "How many of Bourbon Barrel do you want?" And like, well, "Who's Bourbon Barrel?" Let's see. Hold on. It's this guy. Okay, yeah. Let me get so many of that. Because they even give the vendors code names. It's weird.
So this other list over here, we have V4 Snake Eyes, Hydro Viper, Airtight, Royal Guard, which we've already talked about, and I can't see what the little thing in parentheses there is next to it. Sergeant Flash, Psych Out, a new Firefly that is a deluxe figure, Mainframe, Pythona, Annihilator, Fast Draw, Frag Viper that we already have, Cyber Viper, and Globulus. Definitely looking forward to those last two. I like Cyber Viper. One of the things that Lenny has mentioned is liking the mega monsters and getting into some of that stuff. Yeah. So I just have to kind of show this guy here.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I love all those. I have all those. They're great. I want to get into more of that monster stuff, that creepy stuff, zombies and creatures. That's where G.I. Joe really got into some fun things. But then go over to the retro side to the left.
Okay. Now, retro carded figures. We have Retro Flint, Retro Cover Girl, Retro Bat. All of those are already on order. Yep. The Retro Televiper, green shirts are both on order, and the Retro Breaker. Didn't they replace the Retro Breaker with the Mass Device Breaker Target exclusive?
Yep, I think that's what that is. I think that was a misnomer. And then I think this Retro Major Blood turned into a regular Major Blood, and the only one that's possible in this list that we haven't gotten is that Zorana, and that's been rumored for quite some time. We're getting a Retro Zorana, so
that is indeed a retro carded Major Blood.
Oh, you think so?
They showed him.
Oh,
yeah, they've already shown the figure.
The retro carded version?
Yes.
Where was that?
In one of the live streams, he has red highlights.
No, that's a regular figure. That's the next wave.
That is a retro carded figure.
Okay. I thought it was a regular one.
No, that is retro carded. And why they made that one a retro carded figure, I don't know. Because it kind of goes against the whole retro carded thing, doesn't it?
Because he doesn't look retro. No, that's more modern, updated.
Yeah. Retro Zorana, I haven't heard anything about that, but
I haven't either.
I'm not really sure why they would be doing a retro carded Zorana.
Well, the one that they did is much more updated. She doesn't look like her version, her vintage version, and she's got a different head sculpt. So the vintage one has two different head sculpts, and it's got a different body. The whole body is slightly different. So maybe they'll go with Deke and make her green. Who knows?
I like that idea.
But I did talk to Adam Riches, and he is doing all the vintage packaging. And he said there's some really cool, fun stuff coming next year for vintage package stuff.
Nice.
So, that's cool.
So there you go. So there's a lot of interesting stuff.
I might be wrong here, dude. We've got somebody saying that the Red Major Blood is a boxed figure. I could have absolutely sworn
They showed
that
him off. They showed him off with the wave that he's going to be with. So his wave is a Monkey Wrench, Major Blood, I believe, Snake Eyes version 4, and Cobra Commander Battle Armor Cobra Commander. I believe that's the 4.
I can't wait to get those.
So yeah, so I'm thinking this is either a slight on the retro packaging. Maybe they didn't understand, or maybe they slid it over. Who knows? But there's a lot of interesting questions on this list. But the most interesting thing is the ice related stuff that I wanted to segue into the Snowcat HasLab.
I stand corrected, David. That is a boxed figure.
Okay. All right. Well, we don't all have all the information. It's fine. That's why we do this.
I could have absolutely sworn that was supposed to be a.
There was a rumor years ago when they did the original vintage line that Major Blood was going to be the last figure in the original vintage package line, and they swapped him out with Snake Eyes. It was supposed to be the Viper and Snake Eyes, and yep, there you go.
Ooh, he looks nice.
So they swapped the Viper and the Snake Eyes out, or they swapped the Viper Major Blood out with the Crimson Guard and Snake Eyes. So it's always been rumored he was going to get a vintage card, but we never did.
I hope that they make his right arm non-articulate.
But they did the Viper. They did the Viper in vintage package. So I'm not saying that won't happen. I just know it wasn't in this wave. I knew this was in this wave. But, what are you going to do? So that kind of rolls us into this. Tomorrow is HasLab Day. We've been getting, it's chilly, it's snowy, my cat gets into my toys. It's frosty here in California or wherever the heck they are. All the clues with the snow coming down, blah, 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 blah. What do you think it is? I was so on board with that Havoc video that you did last week during Joe Fest. I was like, that was one video I did catch. I was like, yes, let's get the Havoc, please.
But the thing is, man, the Havoc makes a lot more sense to be a HasLab, in my opinion, than the Snowcat.
Oh, because the freaking thing's going to be this big. It has a hovercraft, and it has a lot of accessories, and you have a politically incorrect character like Cross Country, even though he's my favorite driver. And the thing was only on his belt. I thought it was on his back, but I guess that was version 2 that had it on the back.
That was for the Battle Core version, yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think, Terry?
I mean, it sounds the video that they put out, the unboxing for the Rattler, sounds like the Snowcat.
I think it's a weird choice. Now, the theory I had, and this is probably wrong, and we talked about this backstage, was you have the Snowcat versus the Cobra Ice Wolf, like a HasLab 2-pack, because I just don't see the Snowcat being over $100. I just don't see it.
And see, I agree with you.
But I could see if you're trying to get to that 250, 300 price range, 2 vehicles, that's 100 apiece, so that's 200. 4 figures, 2 Joes, 2 Cobras, there you're at 300. And I know we talked about it, David. You said that you'd have, match up to his tank with the Snowcat and all that. But I feel like if you're doing snow stuff, you got to have snow versus snow, water versus water, land versus land, air versus air.
Well, and I think that's very sound logic, Dan. I think it's very sound logic that they're not going to do another HasLab with another Snow Cobra vehicle. I don't see that happening. So the fact that you're comparing these two together and putting them in the same HasLab, I think that's a very sound logic. And then you can get 2 good guys and 2 bad guys. You get the Ice Viper. You can get maybe
something different.
Maybe a more accurate version of the Snow Serpent that people wanted as a vintage and we didn't get. So there you go. You got your Ice Viper pilot, you got your Snow Serpent, and you got Frostbite and maybe Blizzard or somebody, Tiger Force Blizzard. And there you go. There's your $300 HasLab with all the bells and whistles and all the cool tampons and this and that.
Or, the other thing is too, and this is probably not likely either, but there's been rumors about the Mauler, the Havoc, the Snowcat, and then I can't remember what the fourth rumor was, Thunder
Here, this
Machine or
is
something. But
Yeah.
what if they're throwing all that out there as a red herring, and then
well,
it's something completely different?
and it could be, but I don't think so. They've not been like that. Everything that they've done for hints, like the Dragonfly, we knew we were getting the Rattler, we knew we were getting the Rattler. The only one that was a surprise was the Sky Circle because we didn't know we were getting that before that came out.
Well,
But-
guys, I'll also say that we've had some leaked images of some type of a prototype or something for a snowcat, but I'm not 100% sure that it was accurate or real.
Probably not.
Supposedly, Jay Kahn
Oh, yeah.
showed some a couple of up close images.
I know a few people though that have told me that depending on the price point, they're going to be the price point's going to make them in or out on the Snowcat.
No,
Because
you
I
know what's
just
gonna
can't
make them
see
in
that
or out
being
on the Snowcat?
250. What's that?
I missed out on ordering. Can I get one of these at a good price for my son?
Or just wait for it at Ollie's.
No,
Right.
It's not going
They have
to
a whole
all-
HasLab section.
But look, if you compare this is O-Ring Aura. If you compare the Hiss, this is a vintage Hiss, this is a vintage Snowcat. This Snowcat is big. Yes, I agree with that
it is,
comment you had up there. But the thing about it is the Hiss had a compartment where you could put figures, right? It was much
Right.
bigger. And I think they're going to do the same thing with the Snowcat
I
because
could see that.
look we have this compartment here that comes off that's got a storage area and we can put figures down there. Look, if you make this classified size and you could put something down there, I don't know what you would put down there, maybe a polar battle bear or something.
Timber.
Well, and Terry, you brought up that Valor versus Venom, or I did, or one of us did, Snowcat update. That would be interesting if they did kind of a mixture of that, because I could almost see them retooling that one to make it like a troop transport in the back, because that's got the missile rack and all that in the in the back.
Dan, you bring up a good point because in one of my pictures that I shared on my toys, I got to look at the Shadow Phalanx. And the Shadow Phalanx is very in line with a troop carrier type of thing. And you could fit stuff in there. Someone did a video with a figure laying across the back of it on a bench. And it was big. So if you're looking at a Snowcat in that way with the troop carrier type of thing, I think it's very possible. And it could be really big.
So Bjorn is speculating that this is going to be a $250 piece. I'm not sure that I would say $250. I would say somewhere more along the lines of $300 to $350, because I think that it will come with at least one set of patches and at least
4 figures.
3.
At least 3, yes, but I think that there was such a big backlash over the Rattler last time, not having 4 figures and doing the patches. I think they heard, and I think we're getting 4 figures. Whichever way it turns out, if we get 2 vehicles with 4 figures or 1 vehicle, it's still going to have 4 figures. But
now, I kind of want to have the element of surprise with this, where they don't show us all of the tiers at once. I would like to see it just be like they'll show the first unlock right before the first tier unlocks.
That's another thing that people had a problem with 3 years ago when they has the Hiss tank and they did it as tiers. People did not like it. They rather know what they're buying. And get it
Hey,
all
on a side note, I heard a rumor that they're going to reissue the HasLab Unicron, but he's going to be repainted. Have you guys heard that?
Yes, I have heard that.
I don't know if it's going to be a HasLab or it's just going to be a thing you can get off a Pulse.
I don't know. That thing is big.
I'm fearful of something that we're going to be in the age of them hiking the prices up on us because they know they can get away with it.
Yes.
And because like our guy in the chat said, he thinks it's going to be a 250. I could see them doing 250 with just like Frostbite and one other figure, and just saying they'll buy it. Which
I don't think so.
I don't think that would be right to do that, but I think that they think that. So I'm just I think the price gouging, plus like we were talking about the other day in my store about that Unicron rumor, like original Unicron was like $685 and then 100 for shipping. Well, they're seeing how much he's selling for online. They'll be like, "Oh, it's going to be 800, and plus shipping." Who knows? But I hope not. But
I think that re-releasing stuff like that diminishes the HasLabs just a little bit, in my opinion.
it does.
No, I think you're right, Terry, because that's the one thing about this. If we got another Star Wars sail barge, Jabba's sail barge in a different
but it's
way,
different because it's got different paint, or it comes with a different figure.
but people would be furious because it's supposed to be a special, one-of-a-kind item that we'll never get again. The His tank is a different scenario because there's been a history of that being released in many different formats, but they definitely could do that as a Hasbro Pulse thing without the bells and whistles and all the extras, and do a septic tank, do a Arctic version. There's something there, but doing Unicron like that, I think people would be upset because that thing is absolutely humongous.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like animated, look more like the cartoon version versus the movie version or something. Or there was some. But now, it's talking about repaints. I'm really surprised we haven't had a Tiger Force Vamp or a Python Patrol Stinger yet.
We're getting those, no doubt about it.
I mean, it's coming.
Oh yeah, they're coming.
Or they could do a crazy HasLab that's like you get a Tiger Force, or a Python Patrol His tank and Stinger Jeep and something else. I don't know, but the Snowcat's a little bit of a letdown because I was hoping.
Hang on, guys. Check this out. I've got it pulled up here, but somebody else had shared this. I think Jeremy Kimberlin might have shared it in one of the Facebook groups. I'm on the Hasbro Pulse HasLab page. Any HasLab products will be available for purchase on this website only under the terms and conditions described herein. We reserve the right to make the products or similar versions of the products available at other sources, such as online stores and retail locations, but such availability is not guaranteed. So HasLabs are not exactly exclusive to Hasbro Pulse. HasLabs, for my interpretation of that, is that they can sell them anywhere they want to. And we know that BBTS always has a select number of HasLab items that they sell at a markup, like they did with the Unicron, like they did with a couple of other things, like the His tank. I think they had some of those.
Yeah, because they order like 1,000 of them so they can sell them on the aftermarket. That's
right.
True.
Right.
But think about all the people that missed out on some of that stuff. I don't think we need another job. Well, if I had a Jabba sail barge, it'd be Cobra Commander's sail barge. That's just me, though. It would have to need a whole desert scene. But I think that, I got a buddy that missed out on the Rattler because of a billing issue on his card. Like he waited to the last day and somehow something didn't take with his card because of the chip or something. And then he thought it went through and he got an email saying it didn't. And he tried calling and they just wouldn't do anything about it. I mean, it's just a weird freak error. And then there's I didn't get Unicron, and I'm kind of glad I didn't. I mean, I wished I had it, but it was the pandemic happened, and it's at $685 tied up that you might need for medicine, guns, safe passage.
Right.
Well, this is when they were shutting everybody down, and you're like, well, how are we gonna eat? I don't know, but I got a Unicron coming in 2 years if we live, and it's what's that?
That's a pack rat.
You'll see.
Damn it, Terry. I only got so much cash I'm bringing to the show. You're already getting me for that damn temple. I can't keep redoing this room because you make stuff, buddy. I'm sorry. I can't.
The good thing about
you will get that free with a bunker.
Oh, nice.
This is our last podcast, folks. We're really sorry.
So you were talking about Big Bad Toy Store. So one of the cool things that happened at Joe Fest was that they announced their 1/12 scale Cops and Crooks line with Bulletproof, and
Yes.
that pre-order went out for Bulletproof, and I saw that on I think it was Gridiron. I'm not sure who the sub company that's doing it through Big Bad Toy Store, Big Bad like Toy Works or whatever it is, I guess. It looks great.
It's their own toy situation.
Huh?
It's Big Bad Toy Store has Big Bad Workshop or Toy Shop. It's their own manufacturing.
So I pre-ordered it. Did you guys pre-order Bulletproof?
I haven't yet.
Not, but I do have a question.
Okay.
Is that Bulletproof a former G.I. Joe DEF member?
No, he's not. No, because Cops is in the future, and that's not. If you look at
son is a member of Cops.
It's his grandson, actually.
Is it his grandson?
Yes, it's his grandson.
I thought it was his son.
It's definitely in the future. But
there was a Joe named there was a Black Joe named Bulletproof, but they're not the same guy. In my mind, they are.
Terry was asking. That was what Terry was alluding to with his joke there.
Well, he wasn't DEF though. He was just. I don't think he was DEF.
He was.
He was like Battle Corps or something.
His second version, but his first one was DEF.
Oh, okay. In my mind, in my head canon, it's the same guy. He retired from G.I. Joe and became a cop, and then got blown up and became RoboCop for kids. Until RoboCop for Kids came out, which is very bizarre.
We got to see it. They had it in the case there. I took a picture of it. I shared it on my toys. It looks really good. All soft goods. His coat, soft goods, tons of accessories, tons of different heads and hands and this and that. Packages right out of the vintage 90s Cops and Crooks. And then they had a hint at Dr. Brainwave or whatever his name was.
Yeah. Hey, David, did you see the 6-inch Eagle Force?
Yeah, I saw the Eagle Force. Yeah,
those look good.
That was the one thing about this show was it is a third-party fans' wet dream come true. Terry, did you get the Tiger Hawk?
Yes.
It is absolutely huge. Way bigger than I thought. Looking at the renders, those renders do not do these things justice.
That's what she said.
That's why I did that video with the Vamp and the Awestriker from what's the name of that company? I can't think of the name.
Fans Hobby.
Huh? No.
Are you talking about the Awestriker from like Gridiron Studios version?
No,
or
the other one.
Fans
Hobby.
Fans Hobby. That's right. That made
it's big. That gave me a really good view of what the actual Awestriker from Classified is going to be big. Terry, there was so much cool stuff at this show. It was unbelievable. Oh God!
I think I'm going to try to go next year. I haven't been since 2022, and I was hoping. I was trying to figure out a way to extend my vacation by a week, and then I was going to go.
You should have. I think you.
I was like, "You sure you got to go back to work, baby? We can't just stay."
Yesterday, but I got a couple of these guys.
Monster Force?
Yes.
Those look cool too.
Those look great too. In real life, when I saw them, I was like, God, I can't get everything. It's too much.
These Monster Force figures are awesome.
Nice. I envy you for getting a lot of that third party. I just do not have the money for it. I just don't.
It's very sparing for me, but I had to have that Tiger Force Skyhawk.
Yeah, well, that was
looks cool.
Incredible. That's another picture I shared on my toys. If you guys want to see a lot of this stuff, or maybe Terry can bring up some of those photos, because I tried to do a lot of that third-party stuff, show pictures of what they had. I showed the Shadow Phalanx. I showed the Tiger Hawk, or whatever the name of it is, Eagle Hawk, Tiger, something. I showed a lot of stuff, but yeah.
So I showed some of this stuff yesterday. But I believe, I think the Full Force is.
They've been sharing a lot of it, yeah.
Yeah, I think they had a bunch of it on their page.
Yep. So what else?
I tell you, it's just such a fun time to be a fan of this stuff, because I think we're getting some pretty nice stuff from Hasbro. We're getting nice stuff from all the third parties. And it's just neat to see this happen. That makes me wonder, like, will we see will somebody get like the rights to do Visionaries or Inhumanoids or
Oh
do
yeah,
a third
that's coming.
party?
That's coming. Can you read what that says?
I cannot.
Okay. It says, for David, stay totally outrageous. Yo, something Jen. From Jen, and that's Samantha. Oh, from Jim, Samantha Newark. And then
Oh, that's awesome.
And then on the bottom, I got the designer of the clothes, Carla Reese from Hasbro in the 80s to sign it. So I got both of them to sign my gem. And if you would like to watch my gem panel, it is on YouTube. I believe Articulated Points shared my panel with Jim, Samantha Newark, and Carla Reese. If you would like to watch that panel, it's a very fun panel. People enjoyed it and said it was good, and that I did a great job. So, not to put myself out there too much, but I have too much toys up here.
Nah, I can't find the photos I was looking for. Dan, if you look back here under my air handler, I don't know if you can see that or not, but I have a Skyhawk that's assembled back there, and I did a video on one as well. And I mean, the full like Fans Hobby version, there's like two different configurations for this thing. There's a retro configuration that looks just like the Skyhawk, and then there's the Fans Hobby configuration of it. And I mean, this thing it's probably every bit of that wide.
It's
I was
way
gonna say,
bigger.
it looks like it's as wide as the Vamp, isn't it?
It's wider. It's wider.
Oh,
it's
wow.
way bigger. It's deeper than the Vamp. It's wider than the Vamp.
And what was the cost on that?
I think I paid $120 for them.
That was a bargain, I would say, for that.
And it fits one character, or is it?
No, I think that you can hang a couple characters on the sides and things. And there's a winch, so you can carry stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and there's also a zip line attachment for it too.
Yeah, so it's got a lot of playability, and it's worth the money. Way bigger than I ever thought it was.
Terry, we should start a third party thing and do 6-inch scale Fisher Price Adventure people. I just willed that into the universe. So watch, someone's gonna like at San Diego Comic-Con, someone's like, oh, we're doing 6-inch Fisher Price Adventure people. Well, speaking of, can I say something real quick, kind of in league of what we're talking about? And it's speaking of, I won't say wet dreams. Supposedly at San Diego Comic-Con, there's a rumor that they're going to announce that Robert Kirkman and Skybound are producing an Energon Universe cartoon or animated series.
Yeah. So I thought they sold the rights to it.
Holy smokes. And it makes me think that they're not going to just announce it, that it's already being worked on and will be coming out at some point. Like, I don't have any knowledge on this, just my guess. They're hey, in October or something on Amazon.
We've been talking about this since we started this channel. And
yes, we have.
The moment that they got the rights to do all this stuff, they started working on an animated series. They would have had to have been the biggest morons in entertainment in Hollywood if they didn't already start working on it. So they've been working on this the second they got those rights, probably before they got those rights.
If I had to guess, it was probably pitched. And I think after the success of the first year, it was probably greenlit.
Oh yeah,
because you know how Hasbro is about stuff. But man, I've customers were coming in just over the moon about it.
Yeah,
and I just we're like, well, where would it start? Well, it'd probably start with Void Rivals. And you could, I don't know how long it would be, but my guess would be you'd have a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, kind of come back to that.
That's the thing. When you do an animated series, it's got to be a concerted story effort. So there's got to be a beginning and an end, and then possibly a cliffhanger to season 2. So I don't know how they're going to do that with Void Rivals, Transformers, GI, because it does include all 3. This animated series does include all 3.
In Robert Kirkman, we trust. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, man. Maybe they'll do a movie.
He is and they also announced, and I told Terry that I was in a retailer call with Skybound, and now they've made it public, Robert Kirkman's going to take over writing the Transformers, and Dan Mora is doing the artwork. And I've seen a little bit more of the artwork than they released, and it looks freaking beautiful. Like it's going to be Transformers will be in very good hands, and and then you've got the Dreadnought War is coming up,
Yep.
which I guess Joe's going to come out twice a month. I think.
Yep.
That's going to be fun.
It's like the old comics from the 80s, the late 80s and early 90s. They used to do these
Summer events.
bi-weekly events for like 6 weeks or whatever in the summer or whatever. And that goes back to that era of that. In this Dreadnought War, we know that the chainsaw wielding Buzzer is a little bit upset that his arm got ripped off by Nemesis Enforcer. So yeah, he said at the end of this, the Cobra, the Energon special, there will be war. And there will be war. I can announce something, including during that, that my convention that I'm doing, we are going to have an exclusive variant cover by Adam Riches, co-sponsored by Acme Comics and Collectibles in Longwood, Florida, and our convention, the Central Florida Joe Show, and it will be a Dreadnought themed cover.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yep,
that's very cool.
So, yeah, that's going to be incredible. Yeah, it's one of those things. G.I. Joe, the problem with G.I. Joe is it's like none of this stuff stays secret very long. It's all the worst kept secrets in entertainment that you can think of. Because it's like, it's obvious. They have an animation company. They have a production company. They've made movies, TV shows. They got 5 TV shows. It was so obvious that this was going to happen. We were speculating, but we were speculating for a while that they were going to get the comics, and they got the comics. So we're speculating about the TV show. They're getting a TV show.
And so I just love how
we talked about before is the fact that when they and something that they said in the live stream was that when they get the opportunity to incorporate classified figures into the Energon comics, they do. Well, check this out.
Yeah, right. Exactly right. Here it is, right here. Boop.
And I will say that is the most, no offense to Raptor fans, but that is the most cool Raptor has ever looked in his entire existence.
I agree. I love it. I think Raptor's a cool character. He's one of my guilty pleasures of G.I. Joe.
And he's a great CPA. Fun. He's a great CPA.
Oh, yeah. You had your taxes done by him? Okay.
The little bonding session between Baroness and CoverGirl there, that whole thing's pretty cool. I really like this Baroness character. I don't
not one dimensional.
Bad guy.
No, exactly. She's got way more layers than the vintage version did, and the vintage version one had a lot of layers too. But this one's got more layers.
And everybody's like, eventually she's going to turn on the Joes, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
I don't think she is.
I don't think she is either, man, because they've got Chameleon.
Because you like if you watch it or maybe you read it, I could see her getting killed, and then Chameleon taking her identity just to be a,
maybe.
But I don't see, like, that would be the obvious thing. The Baroness is going to go bad, or that Mercer is going to turn good, and I don't think it's happening. I mean, I could see Mercer turning good over Baroness going heel, but I think that Baroness is a baby face right now. It's so you have to read it to see if she's going to do it or not.
Yeah.
There's probably some tension with her and Duke.
They already have that romance dynamic between Chameleon and Destro. So I think that, there's room for both of them to exist in the same universe here.
Oh, yeah.
The thing about comics is it's a long form entertainment. It's long form. So look how long it took for Larry Hama to reveal who the Blurred Master or the several of these characters were. It took over 100 issues to reveal that Firefly was the Blurred Master. Spoiler alert. So it's a long form entertainment. We don't need to know this stuff like right off the bat. They're giving us
this is a different iteration of G.I. Joe and Transformers. Yeah. And it's like, do you want to read this, read the exact same thing over here and then read it again over here, or you want to read something different? And that's where I think, because I was thinking about it yesterday when I was packing up shipping, because people were going to come in and talk about the Energon Universe cartoon and all that. And I was thinking, like, IDW tried the shared universe, but they didn't. They did too much too soon.
They built
And
it the wrong way. They
and
built
like
it the wrong
Mask,
way.
and it almost feels like Skybound's kind of attempting to do that, but they're doing it in a very smart way, where it's just we're not getting a Mask book, we're not getting a Visionaries book, we're not getting all this stuff because we don't deserve it yet. We haven't earned that. The story hasn't earned it yet, I
Right.
should say.
Yeah.
And it's got to be gradual. Like we haven't gotten Snake Eyes yet, and because when that he shows up, that's going to be something special,
Yeah.
And I just
Well,
think Baroness. I think she's like one of the best characters because she's just,
and
she's,
we haven't tied in Scarlet, Storm Shadow, and Jinx yet.
I'm almost okay if we don't, because that series I thought was okay. I don't think it was on the same level as Duke, Cobra Commander in the main series.
I don't think that it was on the same level either, and I don't think that it was on the same level as this dynamic that they're building between Baroness and CoverGirl in this issue. I think that the dynamic between the two of them, it's almost like in the Scarlet series, they kind of like beat to death that like they had a sisterly bond, and it's like we get it. Is there do we have to keep reiterating this, or did the message not get through?
I think I don't like the way they portrayed Scarlet. She seemed kind of on the weak side, like needing help. The Scarlet that I've grown up respecting, because they always say we don't like strong women in like we've had Scarlet in comics since 1982 and in cartoons since '83.
Now, something else I'm trying to keep in mind with that is the fact that I think they're trying to make the characters more humanized and relatable, like they did with Duke.
But see, I still see Duke, like, they kind of, in that series, you saw where Duke was the man of action, but then kind of fell off. But now he's back to it, he's becoming that leader.
Well, because
with Scarlet's the type.
Paranoia. They stuck him with that paranoia, and he was doubting himself, but he's now back.
But like with Scarlet, like for instance, going back to Hannah, the way he wrote her, when she gets kidnapped by Storm Shadow, she's not a damsel in distress. She's pulling out her hair clip or hairpin, picking the lock. She smacked Storm Shadow with chains and knocked him out.
But you kind of said something, Dan, earlier about the characterizations. Larry based these characters on people he knew. So he knew a strong woman.
Some of them he did. Some of them he did.
Did he? Because he said that he did that, and then he turned around and said that Snake Eyes was always supposed to be something different.
Well, that was a movie thing. I think he was just kind of going in line with the movie
Getting
people.
Paid.
That was a bunch of BS there with the movie. But no, he said for years, I've seen panels, I've interviewed him myself, I've talked to him hundreds of times. He's always stated that these characters were based on people. So we could remember their characterizations. Gung-Ho, Roadblock, Scarlet, Duke, all these. Maybe it's not Snake Eyes because he doesn't talk, but Shipwreck, all these different characterizations, their voices in his head were based on people he knew.
Yeah, but also the cartoon fleshed out the characters a little bit more in some circumstances than the comic. And Larry will tell you he had nothing to do with the cartoon. Because I used to think like the comic was kind of the Bible and the cartoon was the ideas. Okay, so I'm going to incorporate this in my story or whatever that I'm playing as a kid. But I don't know. I like when I watch the old cartoon now, it's like I feel like I get more of the characterization. I like Shipwreck better in the cartoon than I did in the comic. That sort of thing. Now Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow I like better in the comic because and Spirit's about the same. He's cool on both formats. But the thing with Scarlet, like they said that these are the characters just presented in a different universe or whatever. And Scarlet did not seem like the Scarlet I've seen in any incarnation of Scarlet. She just seemed kind of, I don't know, this weird like Jinxie, Jinxie, I need you, whatever. It just seemed kind of weird. Where like Scarlet would be like just going in, doing what she got to do. I'm probably not going to make it through this, but that's the way it is. Because like look at the way Warren Ellis wrote her in Resolute. When she's like smart mouth and Duke, and just like putting him in place, and then like even at the end when they had that little moment and she's like, I love you. He goes, looks at her, and goes, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to Ripcord, get us out of here, She's just that, because she had like four brothers and a dad, and they did martial
Right.
arts together. And it's like the whole thing, like Jinx trained her. I'm like, no, she already knows what to do. She's already been trained. But
Yeah.
that's the only gripe I've had in it, because I really love Scarlett. I think she's an awesome character. I always have since I was a kid. She's always been a strong female character that bossed the guys around organically. It wasn't forced, and like, because she would be in charge. You watch the cartoon, she's kind of in charge,
Well, yeah,
She,
she's been a leader in almost
and
all
and
generations.
one of the coolest moments with her, I think, is the cartoon where Tupac's dad, Dr. Shakur's in it, when they're doing the some magma weapon in the jungle, and Rakondo's getting him through the jungle, and like Duke's doing something, and this big snake's about to get him, and she takes out the tree branch with her crossbow, and Duke looks at her, and he's like, and she just like cocks the crossbow and looks at him and goes on. Like, that is dope. That is Scarlet. That is like
And
doing my job. Move
one of
on.
one of the memories that I remember is the very first episode of the Sunbow animated, the very first episode of the Mass Device, where she comes in with the Sky Striker, and Duke's about to keel haul her rear end, and he says, "Who's the whatever jarhead that's driving this thing?" Blah blah blah. And she comes out of there, takes her helmet off, whips her ponytail around, says, "You got a problem with that? Take it up with something."
You missed
It
me
was like,
by this much.
yeah.
No, she says, I missed you, Duke. Yeah, by this much. I mean, she just was a great, like, I just really was excited to see her get in a series. And I feel like that's the only one that kind of fell short. And I don't need her to be like a harsh killer, like the Arashikaji. Like, that doesn't make her tough. Like, what makes her tough is like, to handle stuff on her own, leading
Yeah.
people into
The kind
combat, being a
that
leader, and just being like the episode where Cobra kidnaps their families. That would just be my son's favorite two-parter. And she goes in, and her brothers and father are all wearing masks, and she's like, "You can't fool me. I know by the way you stand and the way you kick. I know that's you." And blah 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 blah. Like, she's on it. And I was like, "This is not the Scarlet that I grew up with or have been a fan of for years." But
It's
anyway,
definitely different. It's definitely different. It's
and I'm just excited for this Energon thing. If this is true, this is going to be huge. Now, I don't think it's something like my son could probably watch, because there's people getting murked and all that, and poor Bumblebee. But man, as a fan, I'm so stoked for this, because I think, and I love how for a year we didn't know where it was going. Robert Kirkman kept it a secret. Oh, hey, check out this Void Rivals book. You guys should order up on it. It's gonna be pretty cool. It's got a big comic book secret in it. Like, I'll probably Negan in space or something. Like, Negan from The Walking Dead is gonna be in this comic or something. And then you're a week before it comes out, it's freaking Transformers and GI. You're like, what? Like, please, how many did I order? I don't remember. I'm like, because I had people calling.
I get enough.
Oh, I was like, can you get me Void Rivals? Like, yeah, I think so. And I'm like, oh, thank God I ordered enough, And it was just like, but man, and just the quality of Void Rivals and Transformers and G.I. Joe, the Joshua Williamson stuff, that is, Destro, or I'm sorry, Duke, Cobra Commander, G.I. Joe, is just like, maintain. You can tell they love it. You can tell Daniel Warren Johnson loved working. It wasn't a chore. It wasn't a paycheck. And I'm sure he got paid, and hopefully he deserves it, quite a bit. But like, you can tell these guys are into it. And I just love it, because you think like, here, Robert Kirkman created The Walking Dead, did most successful TV show for 10 years, number one show for like 10 years. Then he created, did Invincible, successful animated show.
He did more
And,
than The Walking Dead. He did like 3 Walking Dead TV shows. He did a a movie. He did a Walking Dead movie. What's the guy with the long hair that kind of looks
well,
like?
I think that was more AMC than him. I think he was kind of loosely connected to it by then, because it was like he only had so much creative control. Because when it gets to TV, it's But regardless, he spearheaded the beginning of it, and you think like, oh, he's too big for something like this, and no, he's taking that creativity and that energy, and he's really just. If I'm Marvel and DC Comics, I would be like, damn, what do we do to run him off? Because
Yeah.
Marvel kind of ran him off because I don't remember the whole story, but it was some deal with like they let him do this book and then took this away from him and all this, and it's just like, okay, I just do my own thing.
They do
And
that with everybody. They do that with everybody.
oh yeah, pretty much. And but doing your own thing, get you a Walking Dead, the Invincible, and now the Energon universe, and it's just the love and respect given to these characters we've grown up with that we still live with, I guess. They're still inspiring. I had a friend of mine, and this was back during right when the Joe versus Cobra stuff was coming out. He was the military advisor for Devil's Due for their G.I. Joe book. And we were talking about it. And he was like, G.I. Joe and Transformers are just as iconic and viable as the Justice League and the Avengers. Optimus Prime is basically Superman or Captain America. Snake Eyes is Wolverine or whoever. Like these characters, even the villains, they're not one dimensional. Like who doesn't think like, Megatron's pretty cool. I just wish he wasn't trying to kill us, or I love Cobra Commander. He's just kind of your nutty uncle that makes a mess on Thanksgiving, but they're just like, they're just so iconic and aspirational. And the cool thing about G.I. Joe is any of us could be a Joe. Or like when you're a kid and you're looking at it, you're like, I could be Flint. I could be this guy. I could be that guy. My fourth grade teacher thought I wanted to be Stalker, but it's just, just it just was cool, and I just love that they're getting love, that they're getting that love and respect, because I thought IDW when they first started with the brands did a great job, and then just the woke mind virus, whatever you want to call it, infected all that stuff and just drove the sales dropped through the floor. And now it's like it's at a level it's never been at before.
Yeah, it needed a shot in the arm, and whatever they do for this animated series, they better not drop the ball. And there's going to be a lot of eyes on it. That's for sure.
Oh, I think it's going to be excellent.
They will. I think they'll probably do a pretty good job with it. With it being all combined into one, that's the only thing that kind of concerns me a little bit, because you've got 3 titles that are going to be going together, yet trying to maintain 3 separate stories. That's
if I was the showrunner, I think the way I would start it, I would do like maybe the first episode, like you'd start out with Void Rivals, obviously. You'd start out with them chasing each other, crashing, maybe finding Jetfire and him flying off to Earth. And then maybe you cut to like Duke getting ready to go on the flight with his buddy that got killed. Like you kind of get like little, then you go to Jetfire, like scanning the Earth, scanning the vehicles and stuff, going to the Ark. And there's so much stuff we haven't seen, in between the panels.
How long are the episodes for Invincible?
I don't know. I think
they're about 25, 30 minutes.
I think
it would be kind of hard to combine aspects of 3 different titles into a 30-minute episode. But
let's say you had 30 minutes. So let's say you have the first issue of Void Rivals, Jetfire flying off. That's probably going to be like let's say that would be your first episode, and then maybe like when he's like on Earth, maybe he flies over a military base and you see Duke walking out like, hey, David, can you give me a ride in that Raptor? Yeah, I got you, Sergeant Hauser. And then you go Jetfire, wake up the Ark, and then that next episode is just the first issue of Transformers. Then you just kind of touch on the other stuff here and there.
I think you're close. It has to be like one story for like 6-ish episode arcs, like they did with Masters of the Universe. They had a 6-episode arc that was one story, a goal. Something happened. They had to overcome that thing, that conflict, and then they get back to status quo. So we have to have something happen. Them having to get past that thing and get back to status quo, and that's got to be your arc. And so that's how they're going to have to do this in arcs of like 6 or whatever, 8.
You could even almost start with Cobra Commander at Cobra Law interrogating Megatron, and then it cuts, and he's like, I have to know more about your species, and then it cuts to space, and then it starts to. Oh my gosh, there's so much cool stuff you can do with it. I can't wait to see what they do. Regardless, whatever they do, I'm on board.
It's
They've
gonna
done
be
such a nice job with the books, and I would almost love to see them do a dedicated Energon line at Hasbro. You know,
there's something coming. They've been hinting at this for a while. Even the interview that Joshua Williamson did with Lenny, there was such a underpinning thing that they were not trying to say. They were being careful about saying, yeah, we're going to have a wave that's going to be all
Energon. You could have Energon Universe Cobra Commander, their commander, because he wasn't Cobra Commander yet. You know,
No,
like the one with the hat.
It's going to be long-haired Duke. It's going to be Baroness. It's going to be Risk. It's going to be versions of characters that are different.
I want Risk, and I want that Baroness.
Oh, gotta have that Baroness.
Viper will probably be one of them. It'll be those type of people that we don't have figures of.
Yeah.
I just think it'd be fun. It's just going to be really fun stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be great. What about trying to attract kids? Now, they're doing the Overwatch G.I. Joe mashup, similar to what they did with the Fortnite G.I. Joe Batman mashup. They're doing the Overwatch G.I. Joe to try and get kids back in and I've got to give them a little bit of credit to try and get kids back. They keep trying to get the kids into this stuff.
They're not trying.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think kids are playing Overwatch anymore. I think they've moved on to playing Fortnite or Minecraft.
I don't think they're putting an actual effort into getting kids into G.I. Joe, man. I really don't. We are their target audience, 40-year-old middle-aged men. I mean, that is the target audience for G.I. Joe. Otherwise, we wouldn't be getting ARAH, but bigger.
Yeah, I suppose.
I feel like that they really need to, all the toy companies really need to sit down and have a come to Jesus meeting with themselves and be like, because I think you can serve two masters. I think you can serve us, your generation, but you also have to create generational fans, and you got to get the kids. Like my son, he loves playing with G.I. Joes. He took him. We're in Florida, and he's playing with G.I. Joes in the condo we stayed at.
And there's lots of kids at Joe Fest running around, all kinds of kids, girls, boys, you name it, different ages. There was plenty of kids. There's plenty of kids to be had. It's just a matter of how you.
The fact that they don't have the Gem and the Holograms thing for girls right now, you know, to capitalize on Taylor Swift's popularity or Katy Perry, if she's even still popular. But I mean, like, you know, or Cowboy Beyonce or whatever, you seriously could have Gem and the Holograms target the girls, you know, and then get them into it. And you know, do something for the kids and stop doing this like dumbed down stuff. Like kids are not dumb, you know, they're smart. They pick up on things.
Yeah.
Do you think the animated series is going to be geared towards us or geared toward a different audience?
It's going to be geared toward us.
Yeah, it's going to be like Invincible. It's going to be geared towards an adult audience.
Okay.
I mean, because you got rock and roll gets killed. You got the Transformers get killed. You know, which I mean, they're robots. So I mean, do they really get killed?
Yeah.
You know,
I really don't think rock and roll is dead. I think he's still someplace, but yeah.
I think he's dead.
Yeah, according to Joshua Williamson, he's dead. The day rock and roll died.
I don't believe it. He's just writing it right now. There are other writers out there.
No, sure. You know.
All right, guys, we are at the 1 hour, 4 hour show. We got a good conversation going, but
to be continued next week.
Yes. So thanks everybody for watching, and thank you, Dan. Thank you, David, for coming in. And
good to see you, David. Good to see you, Terry.
We'll see you next week.
Everybody have a great week.
Same channel. All right. Later, guys.
See ya. Bye.